Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now.
Good evening, everyone. Protesters have swarmed Parliament House on the first sitting day since the state election. The Aboriginal Affairs Minister confronted outside a ceremonial church service over the handling of human remains. Activists also targeting the Attorney General, demanding answers.
Calls that Roger Yench couldn't ignore.
You and your anti-Aboriginal laws have let down our people more than ever before.
What started on the corner of Macquarie and Davey Streets quickly escalated. Protesters colliding with politicians outside St David's Cathedral following a traditional service held to mark the first day of Parliament.
We are deeply disappointed at the insensitive handling of Aboriginal remains. I will work with Minister Barnett and the Parliament to find a better way.
The TAC says Aboriginal human remains were dropped off to its reception in a paper bag. It's understood they were discovered on the West Coast 6 years ago and underwent testing. Nala Mansell says that happened without their knowledge, in breach of the Coroner's Act.
The Aboriginal community could have immediately attended the area and provided the reburial ceremony that our old people deserve.
The group today demanding answers from Attorney General Guy Barnett, who refused. He says he attempted to call the TAC last week to apologise. The department says it will now work with all Aboriginal people to ensure the process is culturally appropriate. But the TAC wants an investigation to ensure a similar situation never happens again. A traditional ceremony will take place for the remains on the West Coast in due course. Ruby Cairns, 7 Tasmania News.
Inside the House, Labor had an early win with Michelle O'Byrne named the new Speaker. With it clear the numbers weren't there for former Speaker Liberal Mark Shelton, the government backed out of a vote as it adapts to the new expanded Parliament.
Tasmanians have been dealt a full House. The House of Assembly restored to 35 members. Former Greens leader Peg Putt made her iconic protest against the reduction 26 years ago. Today she returned, beaming in the public gallery. The pomp and ceremony of opening day saw both chambers commissioned.
Usher of the Black Rod, I command you to inform the Speaker and members of the House of Assembly that it is my pleasure that they attend me immediately. 3
new legislative councillors, 12 new lower house members sworn in, as the government laid down its sword on the speakership battle when 3 Jackie Lambie Network MPs announced they'd support Michelle O'Byrne. Jeremy Rockcliffe sensed the mood and shirked the contest, saying it was his intention for the Parliament to be collaborative and constructive and avoid division.
Are there any other nominations?
Avoiding a loss on the 51st Parliament's first vote, but consigning former Speaker Mark Shelton to a seat on the backbench instead of the prized role. The first non-government Speaker elected since 1959, Ms O'Byrne is a parliamentary veteran, 6 years a federal Bass member, 18 more serving in this House. Few know the Chamber's rules quite like her.
An office which I will endeavour at all times to fill with dignity and impartiality.
A win for Labor on day one, installing a friendlier face to oversee the Chamber's events. Jeremy Rockcliffe deemed the last Parliament unworkable. This one's already shown him that it won't be told what to do. Josh Duggan, 7 Tasmania News.
In developing news, the deaths of several patients at the Launceston General Hospital will now be referred for consideration by the coroner. That's after a special review. Victoria Eastoe has more details.
The Health Department has referred 6 deaths for a coronial investigation. It follows an independent review set up by the Health Department to investigate allegations of a failure to report some deaths here at the LGH to the coroner. A panel found all cases were originally reviewed by a single staff member who is no longer employed by the department. An examination will now take place into further cases that involved that employee. The independent panel does not believe there is a systemic issue. Any families and individuals who are concerned should contact the Health Department.
Well, more than 20 maintenance workers at Saputo Dairy's Burnie plant are threatening to walk off the job again as enterprise bargaining negotiations with the Canadian dairy giant drag on. The company offering a 9.5% pay rise, which the union says is still well short of what those working the same roles in the company's regional Victorian facilities earn.
It's no cheaper to live in Tasmania. We need to get past the poor cousin mentality and pay people what they're worth, and they're worth exactly the same as the mainland.
Saputo says it wants to resolve outstanding items amicably and is encouraging union representatives to stay at the bargaining table. The usually quiet Northern Midlands area of Bishopsburn has been stunned by a dramatic police operation. Residents were told to lock their doors last night as officers searched for two people who they believed were armed. Police say the pair was involved in a home invasion at Mole Creek where a gunshot was fired into a roof and a resident there was injured. A 26-year-old woman and a 36-year-old man were arrested and have appeared in the Launceston Magistrates Court. They've been remanded in custody to reappear next week. On the first day of the new parliament, politicians were welcomed back with a snap rally on the lawns and hundreds were in attendance. 19 groups form part of the movement from the Bob Brown Foundation to Animal Liberation Tasmania and the Tree Project, all urging both parties to take urgent environmental action.
We are in the midst of a climate and biodiversity crisis, and some of the most important actions that we can take, yet Labor and Liberal refuse to act upon. The movement vowing to hold those in power to account. And environmentalists weren't the only ones. The Sue Neil-Fraser support group also turning out, calling on the state government to consider how she might have been wrongly convicted and calling for a commission of inquiry to investigate the disappearance of Bob Chappell, her then husband. They say they'll protest every time Parliament sits. Tasmania lending a hand supporting Ukrainian armed forces in their ongoing defence efforts. The Ukraine ambassador inspecting progress on a fleet of vessels being built in the state before they're shipped to Ukraine.
Destined to support Ukrainian front lines, these world-class defence vessels are being crafted right here in Hobart before being used to bolster the defence capabilities of Ukraine's armed forces in its war with Russia.
We are very pleased that Australia is standing strong with Ukraine and is able to provide this assistance.
The Ukraine ambassador inspecting construction progress this morning. Craftsmanship and trust placed in the hands of Sentinel boats.
It's really proud the fact that the Australian government has confidence in the products that we're producing.
Sentinel backing their long history in the marine sector to build a fleet of durable, safe and high-performing rigid-hulled inflatable boats.
We have that the proud boat building history here in Tasmania, which we're leveraging off.
Design, construction and superior materials, all major factors in the build.
They are fast, they're durable and they will be very handy.
Because these boats have a whole life that far exceeds anything that you'd get out of aluminium or fiberglass.
Designed to withstand hostile environments in the toughest Southern Ocean conditions. The fleet of Sentinel vessels is expected to be delivered in the coming months as part of the $100 million military assistance package announced by the Australian government. Rebecca Gaidaneris, 7 Tasmania News.
Meanwhile, Tasmania's Ukraine community is gathering to raise vital funds for Ukrainian defenders. Traditional sweets and music on offer, with all donations going towards supporting the Defend Ukraine appeal, providing non-lethal military aid for the front line.
And whether that's food, water, thermal underwear or anything else that they might need.
Also hoping to shine a light on the ongoing conflict between Ukraine and Russia. There has been another delay in the case against the man accused of murdering Burnie teenager Cheyenne Lee Tatnall. Christopher Mark Jordan appeared via video link before a Launceston magistrate this afternoon, but the case was then adjourned. Cheyenne's family was in the courtroom. The 14-year-old vanished from the Launceston area last April. Her remains were found in bushland at Nabola 3 months later. Jordan will next appear on July 9. On this day, 20 years ago, Tasmania's very own Mary Donaldson became royalty. The Taroona girl married Prince Frederick of Denmark in a lavish wedding which gripped the hearts of both nations. Thousands lined the streets of the Danish capital to catch a glimpse of the fairy tale nuptials sealed with a kiss.
The moment everyone was waiting for.
Two decades on from tying the knot, it's been a big few months for the royal couple, crowned King and Queen earlier this year. A pedestrian has suffered serious injuries in a traffic crash on the Brooker Highway. The incident happened just after 3 o'clock near Derwent Park. Traffic on the Brooker slowed to a crawl for hours as emergency services worked at the scene. While the pedestrian's injuries were initially classified as minor, they were upgraded to serious. A new provider has agreed to take over an after-hours GP in Hobart's northern suburbs, which was due to close at the end of the month. From the start of June, the doctor's after-hours clinic in Derwent Park will be open until 10 on weeknights and all day over the weekend. Just last week, it was revealed the existing practice would be leaving, sparking community concerns about after-hours care. The state government says it's evidence more federally funded urgent care clinics are needed in Tasmania.
Northwest Graduates women's coach is looking on the bright side while missing a few key players, taking the opportunity to give some younger team members a go. After round 6 in the Hockey Premier League, the side's only conceded 3 goals so far this season, 2 of them coming in last week's 2-1 loss to University.
You know, the best teams are the teams that are really sound in defence. We've been slow in the last few weeks converting forward, but certainly our defence is probably our strongest part of our team play.
They maintain a narrow hold on top of the ladder, just 2 points separates first and fourth. And Tasmanian Football Hall of Famer Berkeley Cox has died. A 3-time NTFA Premiership winner, he also kicked 46 goals for Carlton in 102 games, including the 1962 Grand Final, where he was named one of the best on ground. Berkeley was 89. Yeah, some very sad news there, Kim.
A great player. Thank you, Nick.
Good evening. Around the state today, Hobart registered 16 degrees, Launceston, Devonport and Burnie all 17, and 17 was as warm as it got. Smithton also on that number. Low Head, Ouse and the Islands 16, St Helens, Friendly Beaches and Strawn 15 today. Lyowini a top of 8. Low-level cloud banked up over the west coast today as a few showers did redevelop over that region, but not much today to talk of. Some low cloud over southern parts of the continent with patchy middle-level cloud elsewhere over the country. Tomorrow a broad high over Victoria should direct westerly winds our way. A cold front is expected to drop to our south. And those winds at 20 to 30 knots and up to 35 knots over southern waters ahead of a southwesterly change well into the evening. Gale warning has been issued for waters between Tasman Island and Low Rocky Point. A strong wind warning from Low Rocky Point to Sandy Cape and from Stanley to Tasman Island. 18 tomorrow in Hobart, a cloudy day but showers for Geeveston and Bothwell. For Launceston tomorrow, fine and partly cloudy, 18 the maximum, 18 also for Devonport and Cressy, bit of cloud but fine. 17 for Burnie and cloudy but a few showers for Strawn and possibly for Curry on King Island, 17 for Curry. 17 also for St Helens, partly cloudy for Swansea, 18, Orford 18 as well. On Thursday, patchy morning fog likely in the north, but a fine day apart from a shower over the west. A few showers spreading further afield on Friday, not much over the north though. Snow expected to 600 metres, and on Saturday showers over the west and far south, otherwise fine. 28 and sunny in Perth, fine but partly cloudy for Adelaide tomorrow. A sunny day in Melbourne, 18 the high there. Sydney fine as well, a possible shower in Brisbane, a sunny 33 in Darwin. A little bit of cloud about, 11 degrees in Hobart, clear in Launceston, 10 degrees, clear in Devonport as well, mostly, and currently 12 degrees. That's the way it's all shaping up, Kim, as we head into midweek.
And that is all your news for now. Thanks for your company this evening. Now, on behalf of the entire team, it's good night.